And are we in an AI bubble, or is it all fazuli?
Is it all what?
Fazuli. Like, is it fake?
Ooh, Matt, this is a good question. Well, let me have you do this. Define an AI bubble. What do you mean by an AI bubble?
We're super hyperinflated. You got OpenAI that has they're signing $1 trillion worth of purchases, but they're only making 20 billion annually in profits. Actually, I don't know if it's profits. I think it's revenue.
Okay.
And that's clearly not sustainable. Where are you going to fill in all the money in between?
Right.
And then plus it's all the money being shared, pushed around, right? NVIDIA is selling GPUs, and then these companies are scaling up their AI models using those GPUs. And then those companies are selling them to enterprises. Enterprises don't want to get behind an AI. And then it kind of keeps self-feeding the cycle as more enterprises want to use more AI.
Right.
But then you look at AI adoption rate, all the pilots are failing, 90% of them are failing. The folks that are doing AI right, maybe don't need...
I want to pause. Where are you getting your data to say that the AI models are failing?
The AI models aren't failing. It's well documented that, let me see here, AI pilots failing by 90%. Let me look at the source there. So you have Forbes saying it, 95% of AI pilots failing. You have Fortune saying it. MIT report, there we go.
How do they know? How do you think they know that they're failing? What metrics are they looking at?
These are polled. So the MIT report is polled against... I haven't really dug into MIT sources, but I trust MIT in this case from reporting it.
And if they're polling, would we say that this is the feedback directly from the companies that they're looking at to measure if
either
AI...
I think that's all internal sources, so not necessarily public information, but it's like someone like a project manager, like that's in charge of like rolling out.
You're
AI
piloting this AI model in your company. What is going well? What's not? And that report back is saying, no, we're failing. What are we failing on? Right? Like I want to look at that.
Like ROI, like just like, okay. And it's not a model that's failing, it's project, right? It's like, well, we deployed AI.
And looking at the KPIs, if we're not meeting our KPIs on this, then we're considered failing, right?
Yeah. Or a lot of them are behind, actually. So not necessarily from a top-down perspective, yes, the KPIs are failing, but they're not failing because they're already deployed and failing. They're failing because not everything is deployed because it's complicated. You're unwinding an old process, putting a new process in.
Right. And you're also trying to alter human behavior. I'm assuming when you're implementing AI tools and AI models into the workplace, you're also having to look at the adoption rate of the human using it.
I believe, or I want to believe, that these companies aren't doing anything complicated with AI, actually. Like an email service agent, right? That is able to handle any type of inquiries internally for IT support.
Sure.
Right. Something very simple. I think even stuff like that is very difficult to roll out because you have their internal ticking system, which may not be something that we're familiar with. It's kind of like part of an enterprise bundle. Mm-hmm. They don't have APIs, and now they have to kind of wait for these APIs to be provided, test them with the AI. If they don't work well, then they have to go back to these vendors and iterate. I think it comes down to data source. If you just need the AI model alone, and that's all you need to work with, I think you'd be very successful very quickly. Sure. The problem is contacts. All these big companies need contacts, and they need to make sure all the data can flow into that contacts, and you need people who understand how to prompt it together, how to test it with various different models, how to adjust the temperature and token count to make sure that you get a proper response. I think there's a lot to go wrong for an emerging technology. So 90% plus to fail isn't too unrealistic when I think it's only been this year when the full deployment has been like really pushed.
How long do you think it takes, or in your experience or opinion, for a new technology model like this to be implemented and be 100% successful?
It depends on leadership, right? If you have a non-tech CTO, which many of them are, meaning like they're more managers than people who get in the weeds. It's very hard for them to say, we're going to do a new technology, because they need to play it themselves to help instruct others. Or they need to have really, really good data from other people. Like you got to have people around you.
I'd imagine too, just their knowledge of the use case of what the technology can even do in the company organization with the tech structure that they have to even match up where the AI tools are going to help.
No, they all match up. See, this is a problem. No. This is why it's hard, because AI can actually disrupt every single part of an organization.
Right, so but it's the CTO's responsibility, like you're saying, if they're not techie, to understand that the AI can actually impact every aspect of their company, but they might not see it that way.
No, they understand. No, they understand. They just don't understand how to execute it. Those are two different things, right? It's very easy to see
the knowledge
that
of
it can touch everything. It's
very
hard to say, how the hell do you do it?
I see. Okay. So it's the execution of those AI tools in all of the areas of the business.
Right. That's the part that's failing, I suspect, across the board. It's not just in planning. It's probably mostly like, hey, we're getting, timelines are missing. That are finished. They're not doing everything that's expected.
Yeah. So you're saying, you started this topic with, are we in an AI bubble? And we're explaining what that bubble looks like. And we're also saying 90% of the pilot programs are failing. Which, was that to be expected as well? You kind of mentioned that. Are we expecting it to fail?
I think so. I mean, like 90% could be exaggerated from other folks as well. Like, not the 90% number, but how they're putting it together, right? When you think about pass or fail, there's probably 99 scenarios where you can fail, and then probably only one scenario where you can call it success, right? There's a lot, and then a lot of the folks that are in that batch of 99, they might be very close to success, but sometimes that last piece is the hardest piece to solve. So it's it's expected. I think the number without context is very high. But if you provide context and you provide the timelines ahead, then it probably should be typical. Now, should it be 90% failure rate still 1 year from now? I don't think so, because that'll be over maybe 18 to 20 months of active development using AI and deployment, right? So I wouldn't expect that number to be high a year from now. But
so with that number that you just said, with the success rate improving over the time of these pilot programs being implemented, are we thinking that, we had mentioned earlier, I don't know if this was recorded yet or not, that OpenAI just got, what did you say, how many trillions of dollars?
Like $1 trillion. It's over $1 trillion worth of they bought $1 trillion worth of contracts. So like one of them is a
but
big,
they're only making so many billion
20 reportedly 14 billion, but I think they're making around 20 billion a year right now.
So looking at that gap, are we saying that they are going to be making far more, maybe into the trillions in a year from now, if that
doesn't, right? That already sounds stupid.
It does sound stupid. I agree.
And the contracts are not next year. Like they're over a multi-year term, right?
Sure.
So they got to buy, 200 billion worth of GPU A100s from NVIDIA over like a 5-year period, right? It's not like all instant.
Right. What is going to move the needle for them? What is going to move their revenue needle? Is it going to be successful pilot programs? Is it going to be something else?
I don't know. This is where the speculation comes in.
Right.
Because
we are speculators. Let's speculate.
If everyone's already on the bandwagon now, where is the other money that's going to fill in the gap?
Right.
Right. I know. I get like.
Have they tapped out? Have they tapped out the market?
No. They're still, in my opinion, they're still a startup. But everyone knows ChatGPT. Everyone knows OpenAI. Everyone prefers to use that model. The folks that are using it are probably under a single-digit utilization in the company. And I think there's way higher utilization. The problem is rolling it out and rolling it out in a way that meets those goals. Whatever goals that you set, whatever metrics that you have, they need to meet them. And I think that part's still pretty hard because the people working on them need to understand them too. I'll give you
What
an
about
example.
regulation with AI? What do you think is happening on that landscape?
I don't know. There is some topics where, okay, here's a really good example. If you buy Oreos from a grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
you know exactly what the ingredients are on the back. You can look at the back and be like, okay, this is dog shit. I'm not eating it.
It's delicious dog shit, Matt. Tell that to my children. Go on.
But if you get an AI model to tell you, hey, I got this pain in my joint. What do you think it is? It's not telling you where it's getting its sources from. It's not, I mean, it's not, it'll say it'll crawl the web, but not talking about things that are inference, right? If when it says, here's a link, this is where I cited from, that's just inferencing. I'm talking about the weights in the AI. What made you come to the conclusion that you should crawl this site and give you this information?
What was the reasoning for you to go there and pull that information for me to answer my question?
And what biases do you have?
Right.
If what is taboo, what is not, right? We don't see that information from the AI. We just see what we think is correct unless you fact check it, right?
How do we know to trust it? And why would we trust it on certain things and not others? What changes in that?
Well, there's different levels of trust, right? I mean, if I had joint pain, I asked ChatGPT, most of the time it's right. And because of that, I'm going to inherently trust it.
How do you know it's right, though? What are you comparing
because I'll follow the instructions, and then like a couple of days later, I'm good.
It works.
Right?
Okay.
So like what happens is the confidence level increases every time you get an answer, and for you, it worked. Whether it's right or not, for you, it worked.
Yeah.
The problem, so that's one layer of trust. But the other layer of trust is the information being sent to you in good faith? I give you like a really classic example where today, if you're on X, your general purview of the world is either central or Republican leaning. But if you're on Blue Sky, it is mostly liberal with some centrists there.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you have a bias, and either if you're actively subscribing to that bias, okay, great, at least you know. But if you're say you grew up in Blue Sky, you may not know you're prescribing to that type of content, and you don't even know what the other side is.
Right.
Right. So that's a different level of like, I wouldn't trust, like, this is where I wouldn't trust either platform because you're only hearing one side of the coin.
Sure.
And this is the same with AI, right? A model there's a reason why a lot of folks don't want to use AI models from China, even though they're superior in almost every way, except like OpenAI, is they have certain biases, maybe even rewritten some history by omitting pieces where it needs to go into.
Right.
And then in the US, there are definitely, at least earlier versions of models, they're so focused, they're more DEI influenced, at least like some of the earlier ones, right? So you have these different biases that were just built in the weights. I want to know what those are, and I want to subscribe to the AI that best fits my representation, not the ones that companies shove down my throat.
Question: how do you know that Blue Sky is more left leaning and X is more right leaning? I mean, I'm not saying I'm questioning that they are. I'm saying, how do you know that?
I think it's just a zeitgeist, right? I mean, this is coming from personal opinion. Every liberal person I know is not necessarily on Blue Sky, but the ones that are mentioning Blue Sky are them.
Right.
And then everyone on X is either just a tech guy that was just part of my network, or they're generally Republican, a younger Republican.
Right. Okay. So we're saying it's typically the user and the way that the user identifies as you know them, and which platform that they use or they lean to most to make that justification. So then my question is, with AI, does it have to lean a certain way, or can it truly be net neutral on everything?
Why would you even trust it to do either one? Just tell me the weights, like a nutrition facts in the back of Oreos box.
Literally, if if it is only representing information and data.
But how do you trust that? You mentioned that only represents. How do you trust that then?
We don't know. I don't trust it.
No, you do know. All you have to do is put regulation around, like, these are the weights.
So you're saying with more regulation, making it
regulation. It doesn't even, it's not more. It was zero regulation.
See, the thing with AI, in my perspective, it is just so, it's like the sky. It's uncontained. It's limitless. You literally can throw something up there, don't know where it goes, don't know where it's pulling information from. You have no idea what's beyond that, right? So I'm saying, yes, obviously humans created it, and humans naturally have a bias one way or the other, right? So I understand how, because AI was created from the human brain, there has to be some level of bias. But does there? And is the information that you're getting back just strictly based on that user's patterns, that person's patterns with using it, that then it's going to start to build the bias of that user? But the system itself of AI is unbiased.
I'm okay with the AI inferencing your personality and tuning whatever content you want based on that. That's cool. I'm cool with that. What I'm not cool with is the weights themselves have some influence, because they're trained on a data set, and those people have their own biases.
Exactly.
And if those people were handpicked based on a manager,
sure,
right? There's influence by single point.
And there's commonality of some sort, because they're on a team, which means they're like-minded in some certain way. So you're trying to say, hey, what is the human behind this? What is the like-mindedness of that human? But does that, is that saying that you're not trusting the information that AI is giving you because it could be swaying you in a certain way?
That's why I mentioned there's different levels of trust. If I'm asking for joint pain, I'm asking for things that are generally going to be like common answers. I don't really care if there's a bias or not, because I'm just looking for the answer, and I'll omit whatever I don't care about.
Sure. Right? Which is how we take information anyway, right? I mean, usually people take information with a grain of salt, because we know that there's some level of bias. You have to decide in your mind if you agree with it or not, right? So it's what level of weight you're putting on the information.
No, it's actually dangerous to think like that, because if you assume, this is what AI companies is, as you assume, you put a little disclaimer, hey, information may be wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens is, as you trust or as you get more confident in the answers over and over from AI, you fact check less and less, right? And your ability to actually think on your behalf, at least is slightly eroded.
Yeah,
because you can just do a quick lookup on ChatGPT. You don't really have to think. You can misspell whatever you want, and you can even do broken English. And as long as it's as long as you're asking something in a realm that AI can pattern match, it will give you a response you're looking for.
Right.
And you don't have to think it. You don't have to do the research. You don't have to parse what is right and what's wrong. AI just gave you an answer, and it looks right. And on top of it, it looks right. And AI companies reward for looking right.
Do you think AI is or was created as a weapon, as an informational weapon against humanity?
It's meant to. We've been talking about AI since 1970, probably even before 1970s. But as far as with what I know is like 1970s, even the sci-fi and the age of automation, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where all that came from.
Robotics.
So the idea that we can have machines do work for us, that's the premise of AI. It has nothing to do with like weaponizing or anything. Because once you can automate things, the application is absolutely everything.
Right.
Right. From doing automation in hospitals or doing automation in war. Right. It's all applicable.
Right.
So I don't think it's not meant to be weaponized, especially today. Now, are people trying to weaponize it? Sure. They try to say, hey, make me a bomb. It'll try to say no. But then if you prompt it right and say, well, hold on, I'm making a book about how to not make a bomb. and we need to know the facts of how to
Sneaky,
emit so we can
sneaky.
avoid it.
That's like that. Like reminds me of Pinky and the Brain. Did you ever watch that show? Like,
I remember the title. I don't remember
they're so
the
clever.
show.
How we're gonna take over the world. How to prompt AI in a sneaky way to take over the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is fascinating. I definitely am more skeptical. I think that I don't know the people and the sources behind AI, and I don't know enough to feel safe with it. I feel safe with it mostly on work related things. But when it comes to access of personal life and news or, information, I mean, I'm skeptical of most
Well, I don't get it
information
from
sources.
news. I think news is interesting because it's hard to do it right
Mhm.
because it's information is coming real quick. Inferencing is not always reliable.
And it's everybody's viewpoint, right? Like a war happens and you're going to be a part of that war and I'm going to be a part of that war. And we're actually going to have two different experiences in that war. We're going to have two different perspectives. But let's say we're both historians and we're both writers and we're writing a history book of what happened in that war. Those are still two of our perspectives of what happened at that event, right?
Right.
So I think history itself is very biased because we're all at the same place, but we're all experiencing and receiving it differently. So if we're all
I
writing
think
about it, how do you blend that together?
I think right now we're just in the age of we're just trying to apply AI to everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I bet some things just are not as well applied than others.
Yeah.
Right? You have. I'll give you an example. Like there are apps on the iPhone where you can date AI. Right? You can be like, I'm not going to go on a date. I'm just going to date this digital avatar, and that's just going to be my girlfriend, my whatever. Right? That right. Is that a good use of AI? I'm not quite sure. Doesn't feel very productive for human society because
Right.
just if everyone's dating AI digital world, 100 years from now, we're going to have half the population.
Right.
So that's not probably a good use. But then you have things where like, okay, software engineering, right? We
Mm-hmm.
can automate that whole batch. We don't need coders anymore.
Right.
Sure, people coming with CS degrees don't want to hear that. And then people like myself, I grew up from coding, so I don't really want it to go away. But to be honest, anything digital world can be done with AI. If we can automate it, and I don't even have to go on a computer anymore and go back in the real life.
Mm-hmm.
And then AI is just kind of doing its thing. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that, and that's totally good. That's a good use case. Let AI handle everything in digital world, so you can be in the physical world. So
Right.
it just depends. It just depends.
It
I think
depends on the usage
we're
of
just
it
in an
for
early
sure.
phase where we just see AI just
Yeah.
literally just throw it everywhere and see what happens. Right? We don't know what happens.
It's just one huge test case right now. I mean, the world is just literally we're testing all the ways we can use it to enhance and also harm or detract from work, personal life, scheduling, house management, even family life, right? Like I've even thought of ways to use AI at home to help ease raising 3 kids.
Right.
And how can we use it there, which has been fascinating for me, well, it's technology. What can we do, in smart homes? How can we use it for house management and groceries and inventory and supplies? There's so many cases I think it could apply to. Um,
And that's where the pilots are trying to do, right?
yeah,
I mean, you mentioned like inventory and supplies, like that alone. That's a big mark. That's an easy one for AI to
yeah,
solve, and it's still failing there. Not because AI, the models themselves, but it's
right.
just you got to have people who understand the thing, right? And it's the problem. So
Yeah,
um,
my use for it would be, I mean, I haven't seen it. I also could be ignorant to knowing it exists or not, but being a mom, I'm a big Amazon person. Now, personally, I hate Amazon. I hate big box stores. I hate supporting them, but they make life management of families super easy. So when we're having to go through regular things in our household, like toilet paper and kids' wipes for wiping their ass and paper towels and vitamins and like regular supplies that a family of 5 uses. I mean, I would love to have, and I probably have an AI tool that could do this already. I just have to integrate it. But it's, opening the Amazon app. I know I don't even have to do that. There's totally an agent I could be using that goes and does that for me. So I have to figure that out. But instead of me setting up a subscription in Amazon, which even that gets it wrong, right? That's trying to make something a buyer behavior and a pattern based on past
Right.
patterns, that's easy for AI to take over. Instead of even having the subscriptions that I, as the user, have to manage, literally could have my AI, co-pilot support with, hey, we're running out of this, please look at history and buy the same thing, or whatever, like just talk to it with a voice out and have it just manage all of the household inventory through Amazon. I know that there are tools I could integrate right now to do that, but if Amazon just had a quick AI helper like button that pops up and it just goes through everything for them, I would adopt that tomorrow.
So my friend, he runs a very large tech company. He's trying to do that right now with his home. I told him he thinks that's the future, like kind of exactly what you just said. And
yeah, I do too.
Well, if you make $75,000, $65,000, $55,000 a year, I don't think you want someone else making purchases on your behalf.
No, that wouldn't be the target market.
The problem is that's where the money's at. If you can't do something mainstream, well, who is going to buy this product and who's going to keep it long enough?
Yeah.
Right. This is a consumer level thing. I had the same conversation with him too. It's like, okay, you're going to target high net worth individuals. So you're going to have like 200 users, right? I mean, sure, you could charge a boatload of money, but like, it's such a novelty. And then you're not even going to get real use of it. They'll just keep it there, but it's like, oh, it's just for one home. They don't even care. They don't even care about your product. Just like it looks cool at the moment. But so your total addressable market is going to shrink really, really quickly.
But I don't know that I agree with that. So coming from a family life and raising these kids and seeing everything that you need supply wise in your house, especially when we were in diapers and you have an oh shit day and you realize we don't have diapers. I don't want to go to the store. I want it to come now. If I could have skipped a few steps of having to go in and order, I mean, it sounds easy, but even if as a busy parent, you say, I need X, Y, Z, look at my order history, get the one that will arrive here the quickest or whatever. Like, even if you had that, I'm talking about households that have multiple family members, that have a lot of inventory to manage, that have a lot of, pets, different things, all the supplies that are needed for that. There is a really strong use case for me. I mean, there was a point, my husband does stand up, and a part of his comedy was when I was postpartum and having babies, like, fuck the amount of Amazon boxes that are on the doorstep from his wife. And he's like, come on. But that's how I manage the house.
But hold on. This is a very simple market, right? How much are you willing to pay for that service?
Because I would pay a monthly subscription fee.
And it won't be under 100.
You don't think so?
There'll be 100%. You have to run the AI models all the time. And you need vision. You need vision. You need to be able to put cameras everywhere to know what you're out. And then you gotta process this data like 24/7, 365.
No, I wasn't saying it automates the buying for you. I was saying it's triggered by like a voice command by the user. So it has my voice recognition and it would be triggered by me doing a voice.
Just have an Alexa. Just do that with Alexa. And then you look at the Alexa, like who's using Alexa today? No one.
That's true.
Right? If it's not,
most of my friends who have Alexa have it turned off.
I have 2 Alexas right behind me. They're behind the books, holding the books up because that's what they do now. They're book holders.
And they're turned off.
They're not even plugged in. They're book. I have like 4 of them, and 2 of them are on this bookshelf.
And why? Why did you stop? Why did you stop using them?
Because it's useless.
Why?
I don't need. Because just like what you started the conversation, it sounds like a cool idea to say like, okay, we have this robots to do things for us. It was a really cool idea to say, I can talk to a robot now without anything. And it'll turn on the lights. It'll buy things for me. It'll tell me the weather. It'll do an alarm. It's great. And what happens is like, after 6 months, it's like, that's kind of stupid. The phone's a little bit faster.
Okay.
Right? This is discrete. Alexa's not.
I see.
And I go into, and that's my second point with the idea of like automation. If you want true automation, you got to have cameras around it because then it can truly do things for you.
Sure.
But aside from the privacy of that, it needs access to your credit card. It needs access to your bank statements to understand to see what a good judgment is when to buy things.
Right.
To determine your financial health. It needs to understand way more information you're willing to give up that you probably want to give up anyone. And you got to give it to a startup that didn't exist 3 years ago.
So
right? Why would you do that? right?
Not
You
a lot
can't
of people
trust them.
would. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. You're right.
So the economics just don't line up, not just from
Yeah.
a privacy end, but also from a financial end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this goes into like, yeah, AI being, you can definitely apply it everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but where are the smart spots? I think
Right.
that we're still figuring that out.
Mm-hmm.
If you zoom out even further, internet was the same thing. You figure out um, what application you can do with the internet in 1999. You don't know. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
You can talk to someone in Japan instantly now,
Sure.
right? And you can do global shipping now. It's everything changed. So you can do absolutely everything and absolutely anything, and no one knows where the market's going. It's very similar to what we are in today with AI. It's like the applications are endless. It feels
Right.
endless, at least,
Feels endless.
and
Fine tuning.
we have a bunch of money being pumped into this. That includes me with my company with AI. Like we're investing a lot in selling AI to other folks. So
Right.
where does this gravy train end? Because
Mm-hmm.
you got 7 companies doing propping the same idea up, and it's going straight to the moon. It's got to come down somewhere.
That's what you were saying earlier was the market. You had said we have these 7 front runners
Right.
in the bubble, and without them, what? What was that
Well,
thought process?
we're not in I don't think we're in a recession, but we're definitely stagnating.
Yeah.
Right. It's 7 companies holding up the whole U.S. economy.
Right. And without those 7 companies, which companies?
The Magnificent Seven. So it's should be Apple. Let's see if we can do this from memory. Apple, Amazon, Meta, Nvidia. Shoot, I know I was gonna miss.
You can cheat.
Miss a few of these. I'm just looking
Is Tesla
up.
one of them?
No. Oh, it is. Yeah. Apple. Oh, Microsoft. Duh. Yeah. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, and Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla is I'm surprised. Yeah, this is where
Surprised it's in there.
I would never got that one right.
Yeah. It's interesting when you're looking at those companies, and you said Google's in there, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're looking at
this is called Alphabet in the market, but I still call them Google.
When you're looking at those companies and you throw them out and everything else isn't performing well, right? Is that what you were saying?
Right.
So we're saying, is this a bubble in that it's just hyperinflated by these companies? And weren't we at a place 10 years ago where we had so many government protections so that big business couldn't be massive, this huge commerce conglomerate?
Well, the government's not going to bail out AI.
No.
David Sachs, one of the AI czars in Trump's administration, he said that they're not bailing anyone out.
But isn't that funny that we're kind of there where we didn't want to be?
This is where I said we're in a bubble. I mean, like all the indicators say we're in a bubble. Now, here's my contrarian play is not contrarian play, but my thought is if we're saying there's a bubble, it's not going to pop then. Not in the current circumstance.
No.
Usually these things happen in a black swan event. So what is the black swan? What is the unknown that's going to collapse these 7 companies and then whatever other companies dependent on them as well?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, all I do know is unemployment is ticking up. Consumer credit card defaults are ticking up. They're over 2% now, which is the same as the 2007, 2008 recession.
Yeah.
So you have middle. I would say probably anyone making under 200,000 a year, probably not, are in their best years, right? Some of them are probably fine, but like they probably can say, oh, we definitely had better years than this year from a financial end.
Agreed.
That it's only, I think it's just only going to get worse. I don't know which factor is going to pop this, but all I do know is
we're looking up a statistic that it was, I'm probably going to misquote it, but it was astronomical to realize that to make it in Denver successfully in our market, you got to make over $335,000 to own a home or deal with the inflation, the pricing, everything that we have here. I don't know if that meant with a family or solo, but it was pretty shocking. I don't know if that was for a household.
Probably be for a household, right?
I think
So
it
a
was for a
household can be
household.
for a couple or an individual.
Yeah, any household making less than that is going to struggle here. And being born and raised here, it never used to be this expensive, right? We were never inflated this much. But just going to show, like, we're not even Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, like any of the massive cities with even more higher cost of living. I don't understand. I don't understand how everything is so inflated and really, really good jobs, even making six figures, aren't enough.
Well, 300,000, I don't know, 300,000 to own a home, yes, but to say you're going to make it, probably way less. Like, I personally don't buy homes, right? I
Oh,
take
you're
my
a renter.
capital. Yeah, I
You
put my
rent.
capital. I mean, I invest like crazy in
Okay.
other things. I mean,
So you don't invest in real estate, you invest elsewhere.
I could invest in real. No. I have REITs, but I would never buy a home from. Your personal, like, this is my opinion. My personal home is never a good investment.
Why?
Right? It's my
I'm
preferences.
curious about that.
It's my preferences. So, and then plus, like, I don't think I can stay put in one place for over 10 years.
Got it.
Right.
So you wouldn't rent it? You wouldn't own your personal home and then rent it out?
For what? I make more money doing other things.
I see.
Right. The asset of owning that, like rental, like homes that get rented, like depreciate super quick. Like, I mean, they appreciate from a market perspective, but compared to their peers of non-rented homes, they depreciate in extra profits.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So what's the point? That's not a good, like, unless you need personal cash flow.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. My whole purview in finance is 10 years out.
Okay.
So I don't really need the aspect of like immediate, 1 to 2 year level of cash flow. I'm okay waiting for a very long time.
Where do you invest? Where are some of your favorite places?
Right now, a lot of it's in chip bot. I mean, I put, when I say I go all in.
So you don't invest in your own home, you invest in your own business. Okay.
I invest in my own business. I did angel checks for a little bit back in like 2019 to COVID years. I stopped doing that now. Mm-hmm. Most of them failed, but some of them are still good. So, and then I have some. I think what I'll do in the next couple of years is buy some homes in Japan.
So you're going to invest in homes in a different country?
I'm not sure. They're not investments. I'm just buying. Yeah, I guess they're not investments. One of them is just buying personally, but I'm going there to see if I can. Maybe if there's a real estate play in Japan, I would want to go there too. Like,
what makes you more excited to invest in real estate in a different country versus here?
I just don't like the U.S. way of living. It's not really an excitement. It's just like, who wants to? I don't want to live here. In the U.S., look, their cost of living is terrible.
Yeah.
You go to Asia, and food's super cheap, super healthy, super fresh.
Yeah.
You got folks that are living in the 80s, 90s in Japan. And
easily.
Here we have a 20% obesity rate in the US, and it's just only increasing.
Right.
Like,
it's only 20%? I thought it was far higher than that.
It should be around 20%. I'd be surprised if it was higher, actually. 20%, it's every 1 in 5, right? I mean, I don't know. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I could see that. 1 in 5. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's, that's, my money is mostly in businesses right now. Nothing in the stock market for sure.
We are playing in the stock market. We're having some fun. We've been doing that for like years. I personally have been on public, as I've said in previous episodes, playing with some treasury and bond funds. And that's been interesting. I actually hold some bonds within Apple, so corporate bonds.
Right.
And those are interesting how much they fluctuate. And then I'm also playing around with some high yield cash accounts, just savings accounts. So it's fun. And then of course we have like some Netflix stock and some Tesla stock and a couple of other things. It's been interesting to just to kind of play and just watch it because we're playing on both sides. So of course you have the bond and the treasury bills, and then you also have the stocks. So they're kind of on a scale. So it is interesting when we're looking at like the day to day and are they going to increase the interest rates and what does that do to the portfolio? So I'm using it a lot for learning.
Yeah.
And then we also have a rental
Yeah.
property. So our first house we lived in Denver, my husband bought in 2010. And then it's been a rental for us and it nets, it's just a business. It's like a side business that we have, but it nets us about 18 to 20,000 a year of profit as income. So that's nice.
Right.
And we manage it. We just made an LLC for it. So I could see having real estate as an investment tool for sure. I mean, because we experience it. But
Well,
it's
it's an
also
asset. It's not.
another.
It's not cash. So it's immune to inflation.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. But yeah, it's the more you think about it. I mean, it's all personal preference, like you said. But I really want a mountain property, and I really want to add that to our portfolio because our family's activities are winter and summer and all year round. We could live in the mountains. Like we don't want to live there full time, but we definitely want to go there to escape. So then I'm thinking, well, if it's taking a ton of money for a family of 5 and a dog to go anywhere for a 2-3 day weekend up there, I'd rather just invest in a property ourselves to put it back into our own asset. And then especially if I can rent out that asset to other people and make some money, that would be great. Just so that we're not having to pay money to someone else to go stay at a hotel or their house.
If it were me, if I was going to do anything with renting, I would just buy a very large, like 200, 500 unit building, and then get a few other investors and buy it out. That's what I would do because
Why would you do that?
that's where the real money's made. People if you raise rents, I used to live in Chicago, so I know this. If you raise rent every year, it's expected in those buildings. But if you raise rent, the home I'm in right now that I'm renting from, my landlord isn't going to raise rents because he knows I'll just leave right away.
Yeah.
I have no reason to for him to fill this place back up, especially with my tenant. It's very difficult versus a building large, people in and out real quick. Just put an ad, local SEO, local paid ads.
Sure.
Put your luxury apartment up. You can fill those real quick. You build it in a way that it's going to be trashed and you can replace all the interiors very quickly.
Yeah.
With new stuff. And you get a move-in ready within 1 month. Right? A personal home that you rent, or not personal, but a residential home that you're renting out, it's never going to be like that. It just gets trashed every time. And then your rent is really influenced. You can always, and these luxury apartments, you just add one more amenity, add another fee. It's so easy. That's if I want to make real money in real estate, that's what I would do.
Yeah. I have a friend that does that. I mean, they literally go buy in different cities, massive unit complexes like that as an investment tool and make it so that you can just fix it up and flip it real quick. You can turn tenants over in a month or less with repairs and everything. I think it's smart.
And when I lived in Chicago, like when they do flip it, like it's brand new everything. Like they turn out, they can fold it. They take out the cabinets. Like the cabinets are, everything's replaceable. Like aside from maybe the countertop and stuff, like most things can just be swapped, and like even the hardwood floor, change it out in one day.
Yeah.
So it's that's a great business. All you have to do is put yourself in a booming city, even put yourself next to young, working professionals. Like that, I would love. That's
or university campuses. I mean, that's
maybe your cost of living needs to be a little bit lower though, right? Because I would rather target 20. Like how I grew up, like I would rather target the 21 through 30. Yeah. It'd be good if you're making 200. Like this goes back to the cost of living. If you're making 200,000, you're actually very well off. in Chicago. You really don't need that much. So I was surprised when you said like 300,000. But for a household, yes. But to live and be totally fine, even well into your 50s and 60s, you don't need that much money.
Yeah.
I don't think the aspect of owning is really necessary, unless you need to stay put. Right? If you need to stay put, then flip. And this is my opinion. Then flip it. Then okay, yes, it makes 100% to buy your own home because you're not moving anywhere, and this is your foundation. For me and my wife, like, foundation is the world. So like we're not really too married. We're in Houston because it's taxed. There's no income tax in Texas, and then the cost of living is 30%. But I'm rarely in my home. If you
don't own, you don't have the high property taxes of Texas either.
No, you do, because they're offsetting rent.
Oh, I see.
Right? Yeah, it's a lot of people think you're not paying. No, it's just, but rent. I'm paying like a fraction of what I paid in Chicago. So like, I get this huge home. Like, I don't have to do anything. So,
but a family of two with no kids, that would be ideal. Absolutely.
Yeah,
because you don't have
exactly.
children.
Yeah, we don't have kids.
You guys can sprawl and have space.
Right.
It's really the cost of living with children, which I think this boom economy that we're in is really deterring a lot of people from either having kids or having more than one. I've often talked to parents at our elementary school that just have one child. And I say, hey, you guys gonna have any more? And they're like, oh no, we can't afford it. Or we're choosing to not afford it. So we're done. And I've heard that more in the last 2 years than ever before in my motherhood journey.
Well, it's not just affordability, but it's also, you just have more people working. In general, you just have more people working. It's harder to start a family. You can't have one breadwinner.
Right.
Not everyone's working.
Right.
So if everyone's working, who's going to take care of the kids? Well, you got to get childcare.
Yeah.
Right? That's where the cost comes in.
And then you're looking at the culture of the family that you're trying to start, which our culture is very important to us in our house and what our mission is, and even having kids and raising them. And, we didn't have children to have someone else raise them. So then there's the fine balance of, well, we want to be at home and present, but both of us also enjoy working and we want to work. We have to make a living. So there's just always that battle. It's stressful.
Right. But other cultures are running the same thing, and some of them aren't having financial issues. It just comes down to, I think more people are just productive in the economy, whether you need the money or not. If you're in your 20s and in your 30s and you're making 150,000, and there's a really good chance you're making 200,000 in the next couple of years,
you're doing great.
You're going to delay. Yeah. That goal's right there.
Right.
You don't have to go think too far ahead in the future. Just be like, I want that. And once you want that, you may want more of it. Right. I think there's that too. So it's not just I think it's economic perspectives, but also from a glass half full, glass half empty, whether you want to keep up the momentum or it's because it's difficult to raise a family with the financials. Like, it just depends on that situation. I think both of them encourage not having kids.
Right.
So, you can also argue highly productive societies just have less kids. Are people in where Africa is still developing, are they having more kids? Absolutely.
Sure.
But then you have developed countries, US, Europe, Korea, Japan, even China, we're all having less kids. And that trend is not reversing anytime soon.
No.
And all of them have different economic, I don't think all of them are suffering from an economic perspective. So it's more than just, it's not just economics, whether it's on either side of the coin, but it's also, the sentiment towards kids. It's like, well, we're in a global economy. We're in a we have global communication now that we didn't have 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I would never want to move. If I lived in the 1970s, I don't think I'd probably have the urge to move to Japan that I do now, because I want to have learned the culture ahead of time. No, I just want to have known it. I don't have the information to know before, unless I travel there. I have a lot of information about Japan, and I don't really go there a lot. So it's like, okay, because of the internet, I get to learn all this stuff and understand it and watch it. The access to information
helps make the world feel a lot smaller in good and bad ways. For example, if there's a war, across the globe from you, the information brings it here. So it creates a little bit more stress here in your backyard that wasn't there in the 1970s. On the other side of the coin, you have all that information to say, hey, this is life on the other side of the world. Oh, I want to go there. I can study it. I can immerse myself in it now. So when I go there, it's not a culture shock. I know what to expect.
Yeah. And I think that is only increasing with more young folks getting exposed to social media and be like, hey, I just want to travel. I want to see other parts of the world.
Right.
And then as we zoom out now, that's the internet making influence today. Going back on the topic of AI, it's like, that's where I think a lot of the valuation inflation is coming in. It's like, look what the internet's doing today. It's the economy of the internet is still increasing. So imagine what AI can do, right? And that's the bets that these companies are doing. So it's not unfound that the AI companies are doing this. If you think about all the projections that the internet could do, it's just really hard to. I think they're just growing a little too fast.
Agreed.
So, all right,
Cool.
We'll wrap it up here. I think this is a great conversation.
This is a great conversation. Thanks, Matt.
Cool. Thanks, Anne. See you later.
Bye.